We are here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course as we get set for the 6th Annual National Autosport Association Championships presented by Toyo Tires. 2 days live here on SpeedcastTV.com. A big weekend here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. National champions will be crowned. You're going to see it all here on SpeedcastTV.com. Welcome back to the 6th Annual NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires. We are live at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course here on SpeedcastTV.com. It is time for 66 cars to hit the racetrack. John Lindsay, known as German Touring Series, GTS 1 through 5. Ladies and gentlemen, here are some of the players that you're going to see. Starting on the pole in GTS 5 is Chris O'Donnell, Gilbert Gale, Chad Nelson, and Ted Barrett, all chasing that national championship in GTS 5.
And our top 5 players in GTS 4, Jay Mattis out of Texas, Randy Mueller, Sarah Cataneo from Scottsdale, Arizona, Chris Street and John Hansen are our top 5 starters in GTS 4.
You go back to GTS 3 from here in the Buckeye State is Corey Deason in the 571. We'll also see Dan Nelson in the 35 out of Illinois. Scott Berkowitz in the 88 from Indianapolis. Eric Wong in the 121 out of Maryland. And another top 5 competitor in GTS 3, Christian Maloof in the 7.
And our top 5 in GTS 2 local guys, Scott Good Arrow. He is responsible for many of the wings on these GTS cars, followed by Jason Christ, Mike Ward, Brad Waite, and Michael Malore.
Right now, the GTS 1, the final group of GTS cars we'll see here today in the National Championships. John Graber in the 643, the 56 of Brett Gear, the 125 of Edward Boss, Jean-Paul Verboom in the 884 out of Ontario, Canada, and Pat Milligan, some of the drivers that we will see in GTS 1. And again, real quick, the differences, John, between GTS 1 and GTS 5 here today?
It's really just power level, Rob. It's just the straight power level. You can see some pretty trick hardware actually on those GTS 1 cars. They may not have a lot of power, but they'll be running slicks, big aero, and a lot of impressive things like Botec. Great stuff that you can see on these quote-unquote slower cars, but they're still just as competitive and just as cool under the skin.
So 2 flying flag starts. The GTS 5 and GTS 4s will kind of be grouped together, and then GTS 3, 2, and 1 will be grouped together.
And that's to give the GTS 4 and 5 cars a chance to get running out in front of those slower cars and give them a little bit of breathing room before they come up on the back of that slower pack. So they will take off and be the rabbits chasing the tortoises there. Not a knock on tortoises. Often it's very fun to drive a slow car fast rather than a fast car slow. That was always my case. I ran out of talent pretty quickly when I was in something really fast. Those top GTS 5 cars there. Car on the left of your screen, that is a Carrera RSR, I believe. Next to it is a GT3 Cup, so 2 generations separate those. That is a 993 and a 997 based Porsche chassis. And both of them very, very competitive, especially that Carrera RSR air-cooled. The GT3 Cup water-cooled, but both of them with a 6-cylinder horizontally opposed motor sitting out back of the axle.
And again, 2 groups, 5 national champions to be crowned here in GTS. We look at GTS 1, John Graber, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Fridays. It looks like we are going green with GTS 5 and GTS 4 down the back straightaway heading into China Beach.
It looks like Gilbert Galley may have gotten the lead there over Chris O'Donnell. I couldn't see the numbers very well because they are just going so fast, but looks like our first pack has gotten through there clean, and that is 591 Gilbert Galley out of North Carolina in his GT3 Cup. And he is leading that Carrera RSR air-cooled car of Chris O'Donnell from Laguna Beach, California, as we hit into Thunder Valley there.
Yeah, Gilbert Galley, as you mentioned, out of the Southeast, currently leading the Southeast region, ran 2nd at Miller Motorsports Park. And here we go, green flag coming out for GTS 3, 2, and 1. So now everyone under the green flag here at Mid-Ohio.
Very good start, it looks like, for this group. I may hold my tongue for a little bit until they get through there clear, but you can really see the cool variety here. Lots of BMWs, a very traditional BMW. We'll have a straight 6 out front. Looks like we've got a spin. That is Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, right in the middle of Carousel and right in the middle of the racetrack, and not a place that you want to stop at all, but it looks like everybody doing a great job to get by with no contact. We talked about just prior to green flag the 13-13 rule, which really states that you don't want to hit anybody on the racetrack at GTS.
No. It's really a gentleman's series, and it's designed to preserve cars so you're not buying a lot of bodywork. There are some pretty high-dollar cars, and you just saw a typical Porsche spin, which is the rear engine is out there behind the rear axles. I'm sure these guys are really struggling with the wet conditions here. They're on slicks, and those are really not the best for this kind of slippy track condition. Probably not getting a lot of temperature in them. Not the greatest thing to have happening for these GTS drivers right now. But we're seeing a little bit of clear sky, which may give them a dry race as we get along in this 45-minute national championship race for our German Touring Series Challenge.
I believe that was Dan Nelson we saw in the 35, who had spun off of the race course out of Decatur, Illinois in GTS 3.
That's a BMW going down there. Again, a great variety of cars. That was a E36 chassis. So a lot of variety here, but they're all very competitive because they're all limited by that same power to weight ratio. So it's just a choice on how you set your car up. Each one has different strengths. Porsche is great fun to drive. And that looks like Scotty B, Scott Berkowitz, local guy from Fishers, Indiana, I believe. Know Scott very well. He's a very competitive driver, wins a lot here at Mid-Ohio. Very fast, very consistent. He did have a little shunt that caved in his right door at some point during the weekend, but he is back on it, and he is doing great out in front, I believe, of the GTS 3 field.
Yeah, that was the 7 of Christian Maloof we saw there battling with Scotty B, Scott Berkowitz. Won here at Mid-Ohio in the National Championships back in 08, finished second in 07, so he certainly knows his way around this track.
Absolutely. Scotty is a great driver, great guy, always ready to lend a hand. Looks like he is out there and really putting the wood to it.
Chad Nelson in the 14 and Jay Mattis in the 171, each competing. Actually, GT5 for Nelson, that's a GTS 4 for Mattis. There is Nelson currently running in second place in GTS 5. Nelson out of Arizona, and then now a couple cars off the race course. So Mother Nature again coming into play. A heavy downpour all over this Mid-Ohio sports car course just prior to getting the green flag here in GTS.
And this is a busy race. You saw Scotty B getting a little sideways. Looks like we have a bumper hanging off of the number 571, Corey Deason. So he may have got a little tap and lost his rear fascia there.
Yeah, real big pack of cars now coming through the kink down the back straightaway into China Beach, which is turn 4. They'll make a nice right-hander uphill to turn 5, known as Madness. Come down the hill through the Honda sign, and then head down into turn 9, of course, into Thunder Valley. But a lot of great side-by-side racing. You know, we mentioned that 13-13 rule where you're really not allowed to touch another competitor. That doesn't mean you can't run side-by-side or nose-to-tail.
Absolutely. These guys are running hard. You can see right there Corey Deason. He is trying to stay out in front, I believe, of the GTS 3 field. Looks like he's doing it. Has Scotty Berkowitz right behind him. Scott got a little bit loose, we saw in the keyhole. Corey has a lot of traffic to work through there, and he has one of the faster cars, I believe. But he is trying to put some distance, and that bumper is just saying adios.
Yeah, it's trying to come off. Deason currently second in Great Lakes points.
And here comes Scott. Look at there. He's coming around the outside of Deason right now looking for a hole. But that's going to be a tough proposition here. We have 66 cars on this course. That is a big field, and it is busy.
Again, if you're just joining us, a 45-minute race for GTS 1 through 5. Approaching the 5-minute mark here, so Mother Nature coming out and spraying down on us just prior to taking the green flag. So a slippery racetrack, and you can see it right there.
Got a couple of spinners. Oh, no, and that was an unfortunate thing. When you hit that grass, you just never know what's going to happen. The grass here is very slick, especially when it's wet. That's number 287 there.
I think that's
Rick Barrett out
of
Cypress, California. Looks like he got together there with the BMW. Can't see a number yet. Oh, another Porsche. That is the 23 of Chris O'Donnell, and he is in the wall. That is a tough break for him. He was struggling there after that spin early on. Looks like he had a little contact, and he is in the wall along the front straight there right after the keyhole, or right before the keyhole, excuse me. There's Scotty B. Looks like he's in front of Corey Deason. These guys are battling it out here, trying to keep it clean, though, under that 13-13 rule.
Christian Maloof in the 7 that we caught a glimpse of there as they head down towards Thunder Valley. Again, 5 national champions will be crowned. This is what makes GTS kind of cool, is to have 5 different divisions of cars all on the track at one time.
And this is great right here because you see Scotty B and Corey Deason have caught up to the leader in GTS 3, Christian Maloof. These 3 are going to come through the carousel right together, that rear-engine Porsche, trying to keep out in front of those 2 BMWs with their inline 6s, 2 E36 chassis BMWs, chasing down that 993 chassis Porsche.
Down in through turn at number 1, heading to keyhole, turn 2.
And that was Eric Wong we saw a shot of. He's running P5, so we've got P1 through 5 there. Good battle in GTS 3 for the lead and the top 5 positions.
Back to the 16, that is GTS 3, I believe, Paul Davison out of nearby Columbus, Ohio. And you can see these guys really threading the needle there entering turn 2.
They are all right together still. Look at that. They are just nose to tail. Big wings there. It looks like one of the cars may have lost its wing earlier in an incident, so he's not having his rear downforce there, but that might be an advantage in terms of straightaway speed because there's not that drag there slowing him down, but he is losing that rear downforce on that car. Look at this. They're going 3 wide, 4 wide.
And I think
Let's
that's
see if
Brad
we can make
Waite.
it 5.
Brad Waite there in that white and orange number 73. Waite finished 2nd last year at Miller Motorsports Park in GTS 2.
Wow, and you saw a little move out of the way there, guys. We are coming through. And that is really, really a nice battle there. Looks like that is number 73.
I believe that is Brad Waite, GTS 2 driver. Or possibly Jason Christ.
Well, if that's Brad Waite, he's running P2 right now in GTS 2. Looks like he is right behind Michael Malloy, number 120, only 0.2 of a second separating those two. Mike Ward next up in GTS 2, 1.7 seconds back from our 2 leaders in GTS 2.
The GoPro speed cam on the front straightaway that's looking into turn at number 1. You can really get a feel for how fast these drivers down the front straightaway heading into turn number 1. Now you see as they motor their way into turn at number 2.
Get a good shot of Mike Ward, number 168 there, in a Porsche 968. I see Scott Good in that very impressive number 333. Beautiful looking car. He's in P5 in GTS 2. These guys are about 4 seconds back from our leader in GTS 2.
Last time we were here with the National Championship, Scott Good picked up the win in GTS 2, currently 4th in Great Lakes region points, driving that 944 S2.
And Scott is also working for us as a race director here in the Great Lakes region, so he's perhaps getting a little bit different perspective that'll help him as a driver as well. There's Scotty B, number 88. The Indy Motorworks, I believe, entry. Looks like he is chasing down Joshua Smith there in an E46 chassis M3. So these cars are a little bit different, but again, there's that big equalizer of the power to weight is the same. And Scotty B is chasing down the leader, trying to get himself back into championship contention.
How difficult can it be from time to time in the GTS class with that 13-13 rule? You know you're a little bit faster. You want to thread the needle, but how do you do that and not touch another car sometimes?
It's really hairy to try and do that. It's really a test of skill and respect, similar to what we saw with Kevin Helms and Jonathan Maris earlier today. Great amount of respect with these folks, and they really embrace that philosophy of clean racing. Looks like Scotty's going to take a sniff on the inside there, but ooh, that E46 chassis might have a little bit better braking going on. A new generation of electronics. Of course, anti-lock brakes are allowed on these cars and come factory. So maybe the E46 brakes are a little bit smarter than Scotty's brakes, and we have 2 cars off there, right in the keyhole turn, I believe. That's number 120. I think that was one of our leaders in GTS2, Michael Malloy. So that is a significant shunt there, and that really is changing the running order next time we come through in GTS2.
You can see all the different lines that these guys are taking if it's still a little slippery on certain parts of the racetrack. The 631 of Greg Dahlgarn, BMW M3 out of Arizona, caught a glimpse of him.
And this is a busy race, folks. Rob and I are sitting here in the booth, and we're looking at our car numbers. We're sorry if we're missing a few of them, but we have 66 entries in this class, and things are happening very quickly as we go along.
Again, back into keyhole, the 631, just mentioned him, Gregory Dahlgarn, driver in GTS 4.
Looks like Jay Mattis is still out in front of that GTS 4 field in that 171 entry according to our ticker here. We are looking there at another BMW. Looks like that is number 62. That's Mark Clennon, GTS 4, running currently in the 9th or the 7th position, depending on who you believe. I'm looking at a timing computer, but we're only getting updates every time they cross the start-finish line, and lots of stuff is happening out there all over this course. And I just got word from the truck that actually they're showing overall, so that is overall 9th position. In class, he's actually 7th, 9th overall. Looks like number 99 coming off, retiring.
Would that be Naburo Camino, the 325i GTS 3 driver? So looks like he's going to call it a day and head back to the pit area.
And Naburo was running in 12th position in GTS 3 before he retired.
So again, about 12 minutes into this GTS National Championship race, where 5 drivers will be crowned national champions at the end of this 45-minute event.
Taking a look at number 33.
I think that's Denny Padri in the 33. GTS 4 driver. This portion.
This is a busy race, folks. Lots of things going on, lots of cars to follow. And we are seeing some just amazing racing here in the GTS Challenge class.
Well, we mentioned just past the 12-minute mark, a lot of racing left to go here in GTS German Touring Series. So stay with us right here. We'll be back to Mid-Ohio in a moment. This portion of the National Autosport Association National Championships presented by Toyo Tires is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And by GoPro. Be a hero, GoPro.
There's a reason why. In 6 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from, it's the part we put in to every Honda.
Meet the Mazda 3 4-door, 5-door, and the one and only Mazda Speed 3. No other car in its class looks like it, feels like it, or most importantly, drives like it. This is a car worth driving, and that's the only kind of car we build. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
Toyo Proxys tires. Official tire of those driven to perform their best.
State your desires.
Speed, adrenaline, competition.
Calculating. Result in 3, 2, 1. The National Auto Sport Association. Start here.
Welcome back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the 6th Annual National Auto Sport Association National Championships presented by Toyo Tires. And we are in a crazy race right now, GTS 5 through 1. Rob Klepper alongside John Lindsay, Jeremy Scott in the pits. And speaking of Jeremy Scott, we've got some action down there in the hot pits, Jeremy.
That's right, Rob. Hey, we have one of the front runners, GTS 5, just pulled into the paddock. The 591 of Gilbert Galley, I was told by the Mid-Ohio crew that it is a broken radiator. So the 591 of Gilbert Galley is done for the day, Rob.
You know, right before we went to break, John, we did see him in the hot pits, and the crew was working on that. They're still down there working on that just around the corner from Jeremy Scott, but he was the overall leader there early.
He was the overall leader, and we had a report from the tower that he may have had contact with number 73, and in those Porsche GT3 cars, there are 3 radiators, I believe, 1 in the center and 2 in each of the side scoops, and if one of those gets busted, you're on the way to a very bad day, because unlike early Porsches, the 997 chassis is water-cooled.
Heading up through Madness, now down Madness, which is turn 5 here at the 13-turn, 2.258-mile Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Now coming into turn number 2, known as Keyhole.
And that is Jay Mattis right now. He is our overall leader and our leader in GTS 4. So he's actually out in front of faster entries in GTS 5. Managing traffic very well. You saw him dive in there very cleanly and get around some lap traffic. He has his headlights on saying, hey fellas, here I come. Get out of the way because I'm the overall leader and I'm trying to put some distance between myself and number 0, Randy Mueller. Jay's got about 9 seconds on Randy right now.
Yeah, Jay out of the state of Texas. There's a lot of different regions represented here in GTS this year. Good to see them all coming out to the national championships. Jim Ginter there, we got a glimpse of him, a GTS 1 driver, back to Mattis in the 171.
Again, that's Jay Mattis, TXSpeed.com, Texas Speed Racing, crew chief Viking Sjoval. Again, having trouble with those Scandinavian names for us. Jay's doing great. I've known Jay for many years. NASA National Champion, GTS 3 2010, Texas Regional Champion multiple times, podium finisher also here in GTS. And he has been a racer in a lot of NASA championship races and is a very active racer in that 2002 Porsche 996. Number 33 there, Denny Pedri. Looks like he is a little further back in GTS 4. I'd put him at P5 in GTS 4 right now. Having a bit of a battle there. I bet that is for position as hard as those guys are going. And I think I saw Scotty B sneaking in there again to our pictures. But boy, it's hard to tell because there's a lot going on out there and a lot of very, very fast cars circulating around this Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Yeah, and they get around here in a hurry. And we look at some of the lap times from GTS 5 through GTS 1, and Jay Mattis turning 1 minute 32 seconds .881. So that's getting around here in a hurry. Now they did start. There was water coming on the racetrack. It was raining right before they started. So wet conditions as they continue to dry out. We see Chad Nelson now currently leading GTS 5 in that 14 car. Nelson out of Arizona, currently in that BMW M3.
That doesn't look like a BMW M3.
Actually, that's a Porsche.
That is a World Challenge Spec 997 GT3 Cup car. Chad is the Ravens Wave entry in the GTS 5 class there. I know that car has run in World Challenge before in the GT category. I believe it's one of James Safronis' old cars from the GMG group. Very, very fast car. And it's impressive that Jay Mattis, in a kind of a home-built 996 chassis is out in front of that full prep 997, but again, we have weather to contend with, traffic, and a whole host of issues preventing Chad Nelson from running down Jay Mattis for the overall lead. Looks like that might be Sarah Cataneo, if I'm not mistaken. GTS 4 entry. Looks like she is in GTS 4 again out of Arizona. There's Joshua Smith, the number 148. I bet he's still trying to stay out in front of Scotty B and Corey Deason and managing that traffic, but Sarah's coming up on him, and she may want to get by to go chase down some folks in her GTS 4 class in that E46 chassis, and I believe that is an XPTG ALMS spec car. Looks like we have someone off there.
That looks like the 12 GTS 2 driver of Donald Waymer. Off course a little bit.
Donald running P3 in GTS 2 right now. May have lost a little ground there. Jason Christ will be coming up behind him with that loss of time for a little off-course excursion.
So again, coming down into Thunder Valley, this is the shot where it gets its name because it gets very loud down there. Oh, the 40 off course. Now we saw him going to the hot pits earlier, came in and made his way back out onto the race course.
And again, that's very tricky because he's coming back on when people are going very fast around him, so he has to stress to make a very clean re-entry and safely back onto the track so he doesn't get whacked by some of that fast traffic. I could recognize Scott Good's car there. That's got to be our battle in GTS 2. Scott Good, our leader in GTS 2. Good shot of him there. Beautiful car, big wing.
That was Ron Harness in the 40 in GTS 1. As we go back to the 333 leading GTS 2, you mentioned Scott Good.
He has a company called Good Aero, and Scott really taking advantage of his knowledge of aerodynamics. And take a look at that car. There's a big splitter on there, very nicely contoured. Big wing with a big section there, some maybe a gurney flap on there, giving him the advantage with downforce on this slippery course.
Heading now back into turn number 2, known as Keyhole, the setup for a long back straightaway through the kink, which would be turn 3. You'll see him head through that next. And then a lot of speed carry down into turn 4, which is known as China Beach. There's the kink. Yesterday, if you were with us here on SpeedcastTV.com, a lot of drivers having to deal with a lot of weather, a lot of rain here at Mid-Ohio, and they introduced their cars to the China Beach, which is just to the left of that shot as we keep our eye on the 333 of Scott Good. Now over Madness, downhill into turn at number 6, a quick right-hander into turn number 7. Turn number 8 as they'll head down into turn 9, and of course back into Thunder Valley.
You can see Scott Good's car is very planted up and over. That may be the advantage from that big wing, keeping him planted through that very tricky section where we've seen a lot of heartbreak this national championship racing weekend. It's where Carter Hunt got loose and got together with Lauren Trefethen during that Spec E30 race. And that arrow may be the difference for Scott Good as he rips around this course, leading our GTS 2 field with a lap time of 1:37.969. Let's take a look. He's got 10 seconds right now over 168 Mike Ward. And then they are a lap ahead right now of Jason Christ. So they are putting some distance on the field. A little breakaway with Scott Good and Mike Ward in that GTS 2 category.
You can see a gaggle of cars here again back through Keyhole.
And there's one of the minis. Again, they're made by BMW now, so they qualify as a German car. And so that is Ed Baus.
We'll go back to the 112. Edward Baus, as you mentioned, leading GTS 1 right now. And we got one spun here at the start-finish line right in front of us.
That was Scotty B. Scott Berkowitz. And now we're just looking at Scott getting back underway on our start-finish cam. There you can see him in the turn 1 camera. Boy, that's a heartbreaker for Scott. He was running real good chasing down Joshua Smith, but we still show him in T2 ahead of Corey Deason. But that may have cost Scott some valuable time. We're at 25 minutes of green flag time, so I'm not sure if Scott will be able to make it up. But if anyone can do it, it's Scotty B.
You can see we talked about the weather in the area. There is some light spots, but there are also some big dark clouds that will cast a shadow over certain parts of the racetrack. And John, you raced here before. What's it like out there if you have a light part and then you go into a dark part here in Mid-Ohio?
It is so challenging because you have to totally hit reset on your brain. And you are going from those light spots to dark spots. 1 minute you have the grip, 1 minute you don't. And here it can actually change from lap to lap because of the drainage. The sealer that's on the track to keep the asphalt intact makes it very tricky when you have a race that is a little bit of a combo package.
So we see the red Porsche number 25 heading into Keyhole on that outside part of the racetrack. I believe that's Ohio driver Joseph Fawcett. Fawcett in the Porsche, as we mentioned, GTS 3 driver. So again, into Madness, one of the coolest parts of the racetrack, if you had to ask me. Going uphill, nice left-hander, then downhill as we eyeball again. Keyhole, turn 2.
There's Sarah Cataneo again in that GTS 4 entry. Looks like she is being chased right now by, actually she put a pass then. That was for position coming through turn 1. Or actually John Hansen is shown ahead of hers on our running order. So Sarah managed to put a pass on John Hansen there, moving up to P6 in GTS 4.
And there is Madness, turn 5. See a big spectator area there as Sarah gets around a slower car.
And she's trying to put a little bit of distance between her and the number 30 of John Hansen. There was a little bit of a, I don't know, it looked like something may have gone on there. They were pretty close. And Sarah's trying to stretch it out there, really stretching the legs of that E46 M3. Action
all the way around the 13-turn Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course as we are in the middle of our GTS National Championship.
And once again, there's John Hansen. Number 33, Denny Pedri, that's the next position there in GTS 4. So it looks like GTS 4 may be closing up a little bit, starting to get a little tighter battle as we go along. Overall leader still 171. Jay Modis out in front of the entire field. Looks like Randy Mueller is still trying to chase him down in the overall. Randy's about 2 seconds behind Jay Mattis. And then we've got Chad Nelson coming up next. GTS 5, and in the overall running P3, about 13 seconds behind Jay Mattis.
Through the kink, heading down the back straightaway into China Beach. As we go back now to
There's
the
Chad
14.
Nelson.
Yep, Chad Nelson through turn 1, now headed back into turn 2. Currently leading GTS 5, third P3 on the overall.
Chad's last lap of 135.227, a little bit off of his best pace of 132.281. So slowing down a little bit. I'm sure that has to do with the heavy rush hour traffic that he is having to deal with as we get along to the 30-minute mark in GTS 5. Wonder when we're going to see that white flag come out for our overall leader, Jay Modis, in the GTS 4 TexasSpeed.com car.
Back down here in Thunder Valley.
There's Jay.
Yep, there he is, and he is cruising. Oh, a little loose there.
Yeah, but just looks like Jay may have a little bit of damage on the car. Hopefully that's not affecting him too much. He is hauling the mail. Looks like he still has a pretty good gap on Randy Mueller, but if he has damage, that could really come into play on these closing laps of our GTS Challenge race.
And he's got some slower cars right in front of him that he's going to have to maneuver. You see the 56 of Brent Geary, and he gets right around that Porsche 944. So again, a gaggle of cars now through turns 1 and into turn number 2 here. That's where it gets tricky.
And it looks like Randy Mueller might have found his way around Jay Modis some point in that busy stretch right there. Our timing and scoring software is still showing Jay Mattis in the lead. But Randy Mueller on the cameras, you can see right there, is out ahead of Jay Modest. But here comes Modest, and boy, he is on a tear. I imagine he may have had a little shunt, and he's trying to get it back now. I bet you this lap around when we cross the tape will be the white flag lap for our GTS Challenge National Championship race.
Randy Mueller out of Florida, currently second in Florida regional points in GTS 4. The 0 car right there, the BMW getting it done.
E46 chassis M3, really nice chassis. Stock, I believe they had about 333 horsepower. I imagine Randy's turned the wick up a little bit on that car to be able to stay out in front of Jay Modest. And there's Jay Modest coming in, just one turn behind Randy Mueller now, and he's not going to let it go easy. I bet we will see the white flag in the starter's hand this time by the tape.
Through carousel as they approach the 12th and 13th turn, now onto the front straightaway.
And I was wrong, Rob, still holding that white flag down, so don't think we're going to shorten this one up at all. It's going to be a battle right till the end. Randy Mueller and Jay Madison, our timing and scoring has now updated, and Randy is 2.3 seconds ahead of Jay for the overall and GTS 4 1-2 battle. There's Randy Mueller getting held up by some traffic. That's going to work into Jay Madison's favor as he charges down towards the keyhole and tries to catch up during our long straight.
Mueller's looking very smooth out on the racetrack right now, and he's kind of getting a little bit lucky. He's catching those lapped cars or the slower cars at the right time, and he's able to maneuver right on by them. So that's going to be an advantage for him and maybe a disadvantage when you look where Jay Madison sits right now.
Absolutely. You see Jay with his headlights on, so it's easy for us to spot. Just got confirmation from our friends in the control tower. Next lap by will be our white flag lap and close out our GTS National Challenge race. The drama right now, Jay Modest, will he be able to catch Randy Mueller?
Well, Randy Mueller finished in the top 5 on Friday night in his qualifying race, and he is still on the hammer as he approaches Thunder Valley. Will get the white flag, signifying 1 lap to go this time by as he heads toward Carousel, the most famous turn here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And you can see that car is just handling very well. He's not slipping, he's not sliding, car's not pushing. Very good setup as the white flag comes out.
White flag lap, so we'll see if Jay Madison can get it done. He's just crossing the tape as we have Randy Mueller going into that first turn. And we can see from our vantage point there's some safety trucks moving around, so there may be a yellow flag somewhere out on that course, and that could affect things big time, preventing Jay Madison from passing for position to catch up to Randy Mueller.
About 2.2 seconds right now separates Randy Mueller there in the 0 and Jay Madison, the 171, the overall 1 and 2, and also 1 and 2 in GTS 4. Chad Nelson currently leads GTS 5. But the best battle on the track right now is for the overall and GTS 4. And Mueller, a big move in turn 4 by China Beach.
It looks like he may be catching up to the GTS 2 field. That looked like a 968 of Mike Ward. Number 168 Porsche 968 chassis. Mike Ward currently in second position, 20-something seconds behind Scott Good, number 333, our leader in GTS 2. Well, here we come. I don't think Jay's going to get it done.
Yeah, Mueller's driving the wheels off this thing like every lap is the last one, and he is not giving up an inch, heading now into Thunder Valley for the final time. We mentioned out of the Florida region, currently second in GTS 4 Florida region points. And that car has just looked perfect all day long.
Absolutely, and here we come. Here's the checker for our overall leader, and looks like our GTS 4 winner, Randy Mueller, number 0.
Jay Mattis does cross the stripe in second, almost 5 seconds behind, so Mueller actually picked up some time working through that lap traffic on that final lap.
Looks like we were seeing the number 112 of Ed Bouse there, our current GTS 1 leader. He's hustling, trying to stay out in front of Brant Gear and take it to the stripe. That's our GTS 1 leader, and now I'll call him the winner, Ed Bouse in the Polizei, number 112. He's got it painted like a German police car. There's Scott Good. And Scott Good has got to be feeling pretty good about a big time for him as the winner if he can bring it home to the stripe here. I don't want to, hold on, let me knock on wood here, Rob, so I don't curse him.
Well, we mentioned he won the last time we were here in 2008 in GTS 2, and right now he is out in front trying to go back-to-back here at Mid-Ohio. It's a beautiful race car, Porsche 944.
It looks like actually, Rob, we have a new lap record that got set in GTS 4. Both Jay Mattis and Randy Mueller were under the GTS 4 track record of 132.846. Jay achieved a 132.629. Get ready for this. Randy Mueller, 130.666. He dropped that track record. He was properly motivated with Jay Mattis trying to run him down.
And we did see Scott Good in the 333 cross the stripe, picking up the win in GTS 2. Mike Ward will finish second there. Brad Waite, Jason Christ, and Donald Weimer, your top 5 in GTS 2. So there is the 0 of Randy Mueller, overall winner, and the GTS 4 winner.
So we'll look at GTS 5. Looks like Chad Nelson brought it home in first. Second place, GTS 5, Daniel Winterberg. Third place, Ted Barrett.
And GTS 4, again, Randy Mueller, Jay Mattis, Mark Clennon, Sarah Cantaneo, and Denny Pajuri rounding out your top 5 there.
So it looks like Sarah really made a charge because she was pretty far back there for a while, and we saw her hustling through. Great job to get up in the field.
As everyone heads back to the pit area, you can see someone with carnage there. Again, your unofficial results for GTS 5. Chad Nelson in the 14, picking up the win. Daniel Winterberg second in the 68, and the 283 of Ted Barrett rounds out your podium.
GTS 4, Randy Mueller in the top spot, Jay Mattis, Mark Clennon. Fourth place, Sarah Cataneo. Fifth, Denny Pedri.
In GTS 3, the 148, Joshua Smith picks up the win. Corey Deason comes home second in the 571, and Scotty B, Scott Berkowitz, in the 88 rounds out your podium in GTS 3.
GTS 2, the 333 of Scott Good, goodarrow.com, taking the win. 168, Mike Ward up next. Third position went to Brad Waite. Fourth position, Jason Christ. Fifth position, Donald Weimer.
And in GTS 1, Ed Bowes gets the win. Brent Geary finishes second. Paul Milligan third. Christian Cook and Zach Hillman rounds out your top 5 for GTS 1. So 5 more national champions have been crowned here at Mid-Ohio. Well, we're going to take a break. Still a lot of racing left to come here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We have American Iron Extreme, PT also coming up, so stay tuned. We'll be back here on SpeedcastTV.com. This portion of the National Auto Sport Association National Championships presented by Toyo Tires is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And by GoPro. Be a hero, GoPro.
There's a reason why. In 6 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Meet the Mazda 3 4-door, 5-door, and the one and only Mazda Speed 3. No other car in its class looks like it, feels like it, or most importantly, drives like it. This is a car worth driving, and that's the only kind of car we build. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
Toyo Proxys tires. Official tire of those driven to perform their best.
State your desires.
Speed, adrenaline, competition.
Calculating. Result in 3, 2, 1. The National Auto Sports Association. Start here.
We welcome you back to the 6th annual NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, crowning 5 national champions in the GTS category. Rob Klepper alongside John Lindsay, as looks like the rain has moved away here, Mr. Lindsay.
I think we're getting lucky here, Rob, but again, only fools and tourists predict the weather. I guess we could qualify as both since we've been trying to keep an eye on the weather outside in our radar range.
Yeah, I think I will not look at the radar anymore, because every time I do, it looks like there's a black cloud headed our way. Again, we are live on SpeedcastTV.com, the final day here at the NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires, the world-famous Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course celebrating 50 years of racing and 20 years for the National Auto Sport Association here in 2011. So good stuff. Well, Jeremy Scott's down trackside. I believe he's got one of the winners of GTS4. Jeremy?
You know, Rod, John, I do, but I have to say this. Where are you guys seeing that there's no rain? I'm getting a little soaked down here in Victory Lane. With me, though, is Randy Mueller. He's your overall winner in the GTS race. Ran second for most of the race, but then you ended up taking the lead. Let's talk about that.
Well, right before the race started, it started to drizzle just a little bit, and we were sitting there with the car up on jack stands, not sure what to do with it. We sat there till the last second and just made a couple quick changes and hoped that the track would come to us and dry out, and that's exactly what it did over time. I mean, the car was awesome once the track started drying out. Initially, it was tough. It was raining here and not there, so it made it, you could go fast here but not there. I don't know, I owe a lot to the people that helped me get here. Hoosier Tire, Awesome Tires, Epic Motorsports, Bimmer World, my sister, Barry Elton. I have a 2-person crew. It's my sister and a friend of mine. And, I mean, can't do it without them. It was awesome.
So you took the overall win. It was a little wet. How did the drying conditions help you win?
Well, we set the car up. We just softened it just slightly and left basically our dry setup on. And we're just hoping that the track would just dry enough to start using the tires. We could have gone the other way and been soft and been quick out the box, but then, slowly would have faded. And halfway through the race, I was beginning to wonder if it wasn't going to come to us or not, but it did. The track started coming to us. It got faster and faster.